Who do you think is going to come out on top when it comes to the Rams playing the Cardinals on Sunday?
So the NFC West is obviously the best division, one of the best divisions. You see, the force of habit. I'm so used to saying that this is the best one because it's been the best for a while. So excuse me, I correct myself. One of the better divisions in football. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying both teams have had pretty bad games here and again. The Cardinals almost went 0-2. The Rams definitely almost lost that game, like Kyle just alluded to against Atlanta last week. But they both found ways to hold on. Obviously, the Rams had to hold the lead versus Arizona had to play for their lives. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying both teams have to make adjustments here, right? The Rams have to make defensive adjustments to not give up these leads and not let teams claw their way back. Matthew Stafford's got to play flawless, man. He's had, I think, 4 or 5 turnovers already this season between interceptions and fumbles. The offensive line has looked lackluster. And let's be honest, Aaron Donald has looked relatively human as well as Jalen Ramsey because they haven't gotten into form yet, depending on who you ask. Now, if you look at Arizona on their side, Kyler Murray had to pretty much run all over the field just to make a couple of plays happen, whether that was a 5-yard scramble for a touchdown where he ran for 80 some odd yards, whether that was him scrambling to find Zach Ertz in the back of the end zone. I don't know. It's going to be a very tough matchup, but I will give the edge to the Rams because I do believe that their offensive firepower is going to be too much for the Arizona defense to, I guess, find a way to score. Or excuse me, find a way to stop. J.J. Watt's going to be the best pass rusher on that side. I think they find a way to at least slow him down. We all know he's not what he once was, but he will be in that backfield just because, dude, the Rams' offensive line, like I said, has been subpar. They have to find a way to limit him. Tyler Higbee has been very solid lately. Obviously, and we all know that Cooper Kupp is one of the best receivers in the league, and not many people can guard him. But the Rams' rush game has been very impressive for me specifically. Henderson's been playing solid, and obviously the whole situation with Cam Akers is just really weird. So we'll see what happens with that. I think that Matt Stafford is going to have the best game of the season, and I know that that's not saying much considering we're only in week 3, but I think that he finds a way to dice up this Cardinals defense. Kyler Murray is going to have a couple of turnovers, and the Rams are going to take a commanding lead of the division this week.
I am in agreement with you. I do think that the Rams are going to come out on top, but let me look at it here for a second. If I'm Sean McVay this week, I'm telling the players, we got to play 60 minutes all the way, from kickoff in the first quarter to that final whistle at the end of the fourth quarter. You got to play 60 minutes. Just because if you're looking at the Cardinals were down in that game against the Raiders last week and found ways to tie the game and then eventually win the game in overtime. And when it comes to the Rams specifically, I got to look at them against the Falcons last week. They took their foot off the pedal, and the Falcons almost came back to win that game. They were on a chance to basically take a go-ahead touchdown late in the fourth quarter. They just didn't capitalize it. I think Jalen Ramsey ended up getting an interception at the goal line that eventually sealed it. But the Rams got to play a full 60 minutes here. When it comes to the Rams are still one of the better teams in the NFC. I mean, I still think that they're a top 5 team in the NFC just based off the fact that they're coming off of a Super Bowl championship last year. Granted, didn't get off to a good start against the Bills. The Bills handily beat them in week 1. But at least that offense kind of stabilized a little bit just because they were effectively shut out by the Bills in week 1. So putting 31 points against the board, or 31 points on the board against the Falcons, was a step in the right direction. But there's still some issues on this offense, especially with Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford has not been clean with the football. He's been turning the ball over quite consistently in the first 2 weeks of the year. And looking at the Cardinals have been able to force turnovers. There was a big one last week that the Cardinals ended up scooping and scoring and running for a touchdown that was the game winner against the Raiders last week. So not only do the Rams have to play 60 minutes, they got to make sure that they're secure with the football, just because, let's face it, when it comes to Cam Akers specifically running the ball, he has a checkered history when it comes to running the football and being able to hold on to the football. And when it comes to Matt Stafford, the first 2 weeks, he has looked inconsistent with turning the ball over quite frequently. But all things considered, I think the Rams offense is well far with what Arizona has at their disposal. I think that Cooper Kupp's going to go out there and have another fantastic day. He had a great day last week against the Falcons. Wouldn't be surprised if he puts up somewhere between 6 to 10 catches, has over 100 yards receiving, and probably a touchdown or 2. I like the fact that Matt Stafford and Allen Robinson were kind of on the same page. He definitely got integrated into the offense more consistently last week, had his first touchdown of the year. So if they're able to develop that chemistry going into this game, I think that'll be a good thing moving forward with the Rams here. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the Rams defense, I think they're going to be able to effectively slow down Kyler Murray and that Cardinals offense, just because outside of Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz, it seems like that offense is going to struggle. more than likely, I think James Conner is going to be out. He's dealing with an injury that's going to sideline him for a little bit. So definitely the Cardinals are dealing with some injuries here. I just don't think that they're going to be capable enough to overpower this Rams defense. Even though this Rams defense has not played up to snuff in the first 2 weeks, it's still early. They're still probably meshing to a certain extent, but I think that the Rams kind of get it together here in week 3 and get a pretty resounding win against the Cardinals. I do think that it is going to be a competitive game, but I do think that the Rams are going to make good second half adjustments and end up winning this game by about 10 points or so. I think if I had to put a score on it, I'd say the Rams win this one, maybe like 30-20, somewhere around that margin. But as far as I see it, the Rams will move to 2-1 in the season, and the Cardinals would drop back to 1-2 going into week 3, or after week 3, I should say.